So PO is equal to ON, MN is equal to PM. So all sides are equal to each other, but it's not the same in parallelogram. So you can here also say that all rhombus are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not rhombuses. So for identifying these situations, we have to know the basic properties of the parallelogram. So now let's go to parallelogram. So in a parallelogram, opposite sides are equal and they are also parallel to each other, and the opposite angles of parallelogram are also equal. And now let's go to this figure. By seeing the figure, you can say that it's a square. But what makes it a square? In a square, all the sides are equal, just as a rhombus. But in a rhombus, all the angles are not 90 degrees. But in a square, all the angles are 90 degrees. All the four angles present in the square are 90 degrees. So that's the difference between rhombus and square. If these are not right angles, there's no difference between square and the rhombus. If all are right angles, then it's a square. So all squares are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not squares. This is also because opposite sides are equal and they are also parallel to each other in a square. That's the property of the square. So QD is equal to RS, and also QD is parallel to RS. So opposite sides are equal and parallel in a square. So it's just as the same property of a parallelogram. So all squares are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not squares. And now let's take this figure UVWX. This is not a parallelogram because it's not satisfying the property of a parallelogram that opposite sides are equal and parallel to each other. So let's see how. UV and XW are the opposite sides, but they are not equal. And parallel to each other. So UVWX is not a parallelogram, but it's a kite. It's a kite. In a kite, adjacent sides are equal to each other. I think you know what are adjacent sides. Adjacent sides are nothing but the sides which are side to side. For example, UX is an adjacent side to UV because they are side to side, and UV is an adjacent side to WV, and WV is adjacent side to WX, and WX is adjacent side to UX. Like that. The angles which are also side by side are also known as adjacent angles, and the sides adjacent sides. So this is what we talk about in this video. So now let's give a recap of what all we discussed. So in the first we discussed about what are the quadrilaterals, which are nothing but a figure formed by 4 points in order. And we also discussed that a quadrilateral has 4 angles, 4 sides and 4 vertices. And next we talked about the angle sum property of the quadrilateral, which is sum of all the angles of a quadrilateral are 360 degrees. And next we talked about the different types of quadrilaterals, which are trapezium, parallelogram, rectangle, rhombus, square and kite. So a trapezium has one pair of parallel lines, and a parallelogram has 2 pairs of parallel lines, and opposite sides are equal to each other. And a rectangle opposite sides are equal to each other, and all the angles are right angles. All the rectangles are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not rectangles. And we have also discussed about rhombus, in which all sides are equal and opposite sides are parallel to each other. All rhombus are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not rhombus. And next we talked about square. In square, all the sides are equal just as in rhombus, but the only difference is that all the angles are 90 degrees. In a rhombus, opposite angles are equal, but in square, all the angles are 90 degrees. That's the difference between this rhombus and square. And in the square, opposite sides are equal and also parallel to each other. So all squares are parallelograms, but all parallelograms are not squares. And kite is not a part of parallelogram. So it is because the opposite sides in a kite are not equal and parallel to each other. For example, UV and WX, these are the opposite sides. These are not equal to each other and parallel to each other. So this is not a parallelogram, not a square, not a rhombus, not a rectangle. So this is not a parallelogram, but this is a kite. In the characteristics of the properties of kite are that the adjacent sides are equal to each other. So UX is equal to UV and VW is equal to XW. So these are the different types of quadrilaterals. In the next video, we will see about different theorems. So bye for now. I hope you enjoyed the video.